Hot and so hot and so hot and oh, a little bit and a little bit.
This is Nelly's Hot in Here. The reason why I'm playing that and because of my outfit is because original Raven, Ray Lewis, is going into the Hall of Fame in probably just about a half an hour from now. I mean, he's already in, but he's going to be doing his speech and enshrinement probably in about a half an hour. So I figured today would be a good day to honor him, no matter what you may think about him. I'll have a little bit of rant right here before I get more into this episode of Dylan Knows, but this is Dylan Knows. This is my show. I wasn't here last week because I had a movie marathon date with my daughter, and we'll talk about that a little bit later too. So this is a special double episode. So about halfway through, things are going to get a little changing up here, some more music, different outfits, so on and so forth. So just hang out for that. And I had 2 viewers, and now I have 0 because they probably don't hear me talking about Ray Lewis. That's okay. I don't care because I'm getting ready to talk about Ray Lewis anyway because this is the big story for me. One of the big stories for me for today. No matter what you think about what Ray Lewis did or his attitude or the way he presents himself out there, there's no denying the fact that he is one of the greatest football players of all time. And this Hall of Fame enshrinement is just proof of that right off the top of the bat that he was. He is considered to be one of the best linebackers of all time, if not the best linebacker of all time. And that's not just me being a homer, it's the truth, according to other sports critics and stuff like that. But with that comes a lot of stuff about Ray that's gotten out there. His troubles with the law early on in his career, including being arrested for murder. Turned out that he was not the murderer, and he knew who it was, but he did not tell who it was. So they got him for obstruction or something like that. So he did spend some time in jail, and he made his amends and came out and became a better person, finished his schooling, got his degree in business, and was a very vocal supporter of the city of Baltimore and its poor people and young kids in the area as well to help them out, and a darn good football player at that. Yes, his outrageous speeches and his preaching and his incredible faith in God and his ability to not give a damn if anyone knew what he cared about his belief of God, maybe brought out a little bit of a side to him because they think he's a preacher, stupefying, whatever you want to call, just chit-chatting away. And a lot of people cannot see through what he was when he was younger. And that seems to be a problem nowadays with the fact that redemption doesn't seem to matter anymore in this age of time. Good example, not only Ray Lewis, James Gunn, director of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. Disney is firing him from doing Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because of some tweets he put out that were in bad taste back in 2009. In 2012 or 13, somewhere around there, 14, whenever he was prepping Guardians of the Galaxy and he was doing stuff about that and also doing the press for it, the press brought this up all the time. And he mea culpa'd it. He apologized. He took full responsibility, said he was stupid, dumb kid, did all this stuff. And he has made himself a better person. And that wasn't him 9 years ago. And at that time, Disney didn't seem to have a problem with it. They got him direct 2 movies of Guardians of the Galaxy and get him ready for prep for a 3rd one. And I'm not getting ready to bash, but it was a right-wing conservative group that came and said, hey, what about these emails from 2009? They brought it out. You can't have people saying this. You need to fire him right away. And Disney, feeling the pressure from what happened with Roseanne, decided they had to. Now, here's the problem I have with that. First of all, he redeemed himself. He apologized. He took mea culpa. He hasn't done anything like that since that time period. And he thought it was under the bridge. Disney didn't matter, didn't bother him like that. And so he thought that was over with. And it should be because he redeemed himself. But then all of a sudden you're saying, no, your redemption doesn't mean shit to me. And everyone's like, well, what about Roseanne? Well, see, Roseanne never redeemed herself for anything she did. She apologized, and then during her apology, she insulted the person who she insulted in her original emails that got her fired. Again, that's just stupidity and blind bigotry and racism. And she never redeemed herself. She never mea culpa. She didn't really mean to say, I'm sorry, because she went right in and attacked the person again in her apology. It's completely different scenario and storyline, and it's bullshit. And the same thing with Ray Lewis. Everybody brings up the fact that he was indicted for murder. And that's, yes, he was indicted for murder, but guess what? He was found not guilty of murder. He was found guilty of obstruction or something like that. He did jail time, and he did his community service, and that was it. He moved on. He redeemed himself. He apologized, and he was sincere, and he went on to have a stellar career, a Hall of Fame career, as it were. And a lot of people still just can't get over the fact that he did that. And yes, Patrick did say, yes, I'm here. And also congrats to your Ravens for kicking my Bears' ass. Still, it's preseason. It's preseason, Patrick, and it was by 1 point. It's nothing to worry about. Your Bears actually looked pretty good there in the second half, and it wasn't even any of the first teams were playing at all. So nothing to worry about there. Just a quick thing. Just keep an eye on the team. They're a good young team with a good young coach, so just watch out with that. So you got to get over that stuff. I'm all for people who are willing to redeem themselves and try their hardest and prove that they are trying to redeem themselves. And when they do a good job, I might not like what they might have said or done or whatever, but I'm okay with it now because they have fully seemed like they are truly sorry for what it is. And I think more people need to deal with that. So I just want to wish Ray Lewis a congratulations for the Hall of Fame. That's why I'm wearing my Ray stuff. I played hot in here because for those who don't know, at every home game, whenever Ray Lewis came out, he did his goofy dance, which a lot of people also didn't like about that, but it pumped up the crowd. It really did. Whenever he did that dance, that stadium was rocking, and it got the team pumped up, and it got everybody pumped up. I mean, that's why, during that stretch from 2009 to 2012, they made the playoffs every year. And also they made playoffs sporadically from 1996 up to 2009 because of Ray Lewis. And, of course, our other Hall of Famer we have, Jonathan Ogden, was the first Ravens Hall of Famer. He went a couple of years ago. Ed Reed is the next one who'll be going in probably, I think, about 2 years. I think he'll be going in first ballot probably. And after that, you get into a little gray area. Terrell Suggs probably will get in, but he's still playing now, so he's still got a little ways to go. There may be a few other people down the line. Tucker, our kicker, might be going in because he is right now in football. And this is what I heard from NFL Network, is the best kicker in football right now, with his scoring percentage and his distances and stuff like that. So Justin Tucker, he might be going in as well. So the Ravens, for being a team that we've only had now for 22 years, have already 2 Hall of Famers, both of which who were drafted their first draft. Jonathan Ogden was first, and Ray Lewis was second. So boom, boom. Ed Reed is going to be going in a couple years, and as is Terrell Suggs when he retires. He's still playing, so he can play another 2 years. He might not be going to 2025, but he'll be going in as well. But I cannot ignore the others. Ray Lewis is not the only one who went in. Patrick, a Bears fan, congratulations to Brian Urlacher getting into the Hall of Fame. And did you see that? He has hair, Pat. He has hair. Can you believe that? Brian Urlacher, who's known for his baldness, has hair now. And he actually looks pretty distinguished right now. He was a really good interviewer at the Hall of Fame game on Thursday. And it was really interesting. Brian Dawkins, I just saw while my daughter was taking her bath, and I was waiting for her to get done. I was watching the Hall of Fame and trying to say Brian Dawkins of the Eagles. He had his speech. It was a lovely speech, fantastic speech, and just a wonderful scene at the end where he had his gold jacket on, obviously, because he'd gotten that earlier in the day, and or last night rather. And he was thanking everybody, and he thanked his wife and asked if his wife could stand up. He says, "I got something gold for you. I got my gold jacket. This is something gold for you." Gave her a gold shawl, which was, and family member, whatever, put it on her, and it was absolutely wonderful moment in the NFL. I think Randy Moss is is going through it right now. I think his dad is doing the speech for him now, and then Randy will come on and talk. And I think after Randy, I think it's going to end with Ray. I'm not sure. I think it goes till 10 o'clock or around 10:30 or so. So I think Ray's last. So I don't know how long. I thought maybe it started around 8 o'clock and it was only about 2 hours. I think Ray is going to be last. I know he's last, but I think he's going to be after Randy Moss. So Randy Moss right now, if you go to NFL Network, if you're interested in that kind of thing, check it out. Randy Moss is probably speaking right now. And the Hall of Fame is always interesting to watch. Bobby Beathard of the Redskins is a coach, I think. He got in there. T.O., we're not even going to talk about T.O. He's not even there, but he did get in. And then there was a couple older guys whose names I can't remember. I think Brazil or something like that. And there was another one, which is horrible. I can't remember. These are the older guys that have been waiting. It's like I saw because they were talking about him on Thursday. It was like Meacham or Ketchum or something like that. A guy who's been waiting for years to get in. So he finally is getting into. So congrats to them. Now this is a double episode because last week, as I said, my daughter and I did a movie marathon. We always do that when my wife and son go on a Boy Scout camping trip. So the way that works is I probably talk for about an hour because I try to keep my show under 2 hours. I'll try to talk about for an hour of stuff that happened 2 weeks ago, which I was supposed to talk about last week. And then I will do a miraculous change of outfit, different music, because I got a great song to start the second half of the show on, and talk about the stuff that's going on this week. I had to bring up the Hall of Fame right now because it's going on right now, and I had to show off why I did all that stuff. Yes, you're welcome for mentioning Brian Urlacher. He is one of the greatest as well and well deserved to be in the Hall of Fame as well. So on that note, we're going to skip back a couple weeks to to episode 252, which is what we're doing right now. I was going to do, I'm going to try to hook up with MJ sometime soon, but I'm on vacation literally right now. Name of the episode is Working Vacation because I'm literally on vacation right now. We are not going down to the Outer Banks like we always do with my wife's family. Financial things. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law are in the midst of trying to buy a new house, so all their money is going to be put into that, and we don't need to do that. We don't always need to be all together. We can do individual family vacations. So I am now off until the 13th of August, which is wonderful. That's 9 days, which is wonderful. This weekend is just going to be a typical weekend. We'll just be at home doing what we always do on the weekends. Like we're going to be going to work on Monday, but we're not. Instead, what we're going to do on Monday is we're going to drive down to Washington, D.C., which isn't that far away down there, and do the tourist thing in Washington, D.C., it being only 45, maybe longer, maybe about an hour away. You can do the tourist thing whenever you feel like it. So we're going to do that. We'll hit the National Zoo, we'll hit the mall, and hit all the museums and the memorials, and maybe find some other stuff to get into trouble with. Storm the White House, take out the president, stuff like that. No, we're not going to do that. But we'll do that on Monday, and hopefully, Dawn said she's going to call her mom. Hopefully, we'll be able to crash at her mom's house, which is in Olney, which is outside of DC. There's only about maybe 40 minutes, not even that, about maybe 20 minutes away from DC from their house, and crash at their house. There's a metro stop right by their house, so we can hop on the metro and get into the city that way. And we'll do that, and then we'll spend the night there, and then we will go back down to Washington on Tuesday, do whatever we didn't get done, and then we will leave from. We'll figure it out, and then we're going to be heading down to Williamsburg, Virginia. We're going to be doing Williamsburg on Wednesday, Busch Gardens on Thursday, and I guess whatever we didn't get on Friday. Or maybe we'll do Travel Day on Wednesday, and then Thursday is Williamsburg, Friday's Busch Gardens, something like that. We'll figure something out. We got a hotel for 3 days, so we're okay there. And so we'll do that, and then we're going to come back just in time for Pokemon Go's Community Day, which is the 10th and the 11th and 12th. It's EV this time, and so we're back in time here. We'll be back home for that. So it's going to be not a real immersive vacation. We're gonna go spend some time down in Williamsburg, which is only about 4 hours away, maybe 5 hours from here. Not that far. In the long run, if you think about it, it really isn't that far. And do some DC stuff, and that will be our vacation. So, I'm ready for vacation. So I figured I didn't want to miss another episode of the show. So I figured I may as well hit my 2 today, and we'll see how we are. Since I'll be back next weekend, I'll probably do a regular show next weekend also. So I was probably gonna hook up with MJ sometime soon, and we'll do our discussion of Ant-Man and the Wasp. So I think I might, since I've got a lot to talk about, I think I will wait till I get to MJ and go and talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp. Saw that, loved it. That's all you need to know. If you're a big fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, definitely got to go see the film. It's a nice palate cleanser after the roughness that was Infinity War and the heaviness and dark that was Infinity War. It's a nice little light storyline, which was really good. And I'll get into that in more detail with MJ down the line very soon. So keep an eye on that. So I'm just going to keep this and just go bam, boom, and down. So this is stuff from a couple weeks ago. So if this is old news, it's old news, but it still happened. I want to talk about it a little bit. First off, Mars was at its closest point to Earth and will be what it was its closest point to the Earth in almost 15 years and will not be this close again till like 2235 when we're all going to be gone anyway. So, space is great. We got a lot of space stories today. So, there's always that whenever Mars is nearby Earth, there's always that stupid story that comes up and says, oh, if you look up in the sky, Mars is going to be the same size as the moon. And I got to say, if you believe that, you are absolutely freaking insane, because the moon is only a few million miles away from the Earth. Mars is like way, way further away, and there is no way, it is physically impossible to have Mars be the same size as the moon from where it is located in its orbit. There is no way, and please do not ever again retweet that article, because it is impossible. The moon looks like the moon because of how close it is to the Earth. The Mars is nowhere near close to that Earth. Same with Venus. Venus is nowhere near that close to the Earth. The sun is 93 million miles away, but it looks big because it is freaking big. It doesn't look that big in the sky. It looks like a little small planet up in the sky, but when you actually go 93 million miles away, it is huge. It's a freaking star, for God's sakes. It's all about physics and perspective and stuff like that. Mars is never, ever, ever going to be the size of the moon from our vantage point, ever. It's going to be a little red star. When it's closer, it's going to be a little bit bigger, but it's never going to be the size of the moon. Just stop it. Patrick says, that's a good thing you're not coming to North Carolina. We didn't want you here anyways. Thanks, man. Didn't want to go anyway. Actually, to be honest, I really did, because this is a terrible thing to say, but the kids get to play with their cousins. Their cousins are all the same age as they are, and they love it. They have a great time with their cousins. And it gives the adults a chance to just go and do what we want to do. Last year when we were down at the beach, I spent an evening reading like 25 comic books, which I really want to do again, but I'm not going to be able to do this time. But you know what? It'll be fun with the family anyway. It's been years since I've been to Busch Gardens, so should be fun to see that. Spontaneously combusting tortilla chips was blamed for 2 fires in Austin, Texas. Is it really that hot of a tortilla chip that you're going to spontaneously combust into fire? I guess it's a really, really hot one. That just seems like a really odd thing to happen, and there's got to be something else involved with that, but they're not really saying that, oh, it was arson or something else. No, it says it came from the chips. So I don't know if that's a good thing. If you're eating potato chips that can spontaneously combust and ingesting them, can they spontaneously combust in your body and burn you from the inside out. Probably not, because your acids will tear them up in a second, but still, that's just weird. I'm going to probably jump around a little bit because this is connected. 2 weeks ago, they revealed the Roswell reboot trailer. It's now called Roswell, New Mexico. And I don't know if you remember, back in the late 90s, there was a show called Roswell that was on the WB. And it was about 3 aliens who had integrated themselves into society, disguising themselves as humans. And one falls in love with a human girl, and it's the stuff that happens with all that. And, you know, it was a pretty big hit for a few years, and then they decided to reboot it recently. It's now called Roswell, New Mexico, and it looks to be following the same sort of pattern. So I couldn't tell you for sure if you know, what it's going to be about. Preaching science, that's right. The moon is not as big as the sun. That's right. Neither is Mars. So I'll put that up there so that Patrick can keep commenting in there, because I will keep. And that's a good thing, that for those who are watching on tape delay, if you want to get involved, and this is more fun when I'm talking to Patrick, it's a lot more fun for me, and hopefully a lot more fun for you, because 2.5 hours goes by quickly when I'm talking to you. Come on in and tweet a little bit. Watch the show and tweet a little bit. We'll talk about how I can raise my profile in a little bit, considering I just lost another subscriber today, so whatever. So Roswell, the trailer came out. It looks, I'm not going to watch it, but it looks similar to the show that came on before, similar premise, maybe a little bit different style to it, but there's that. And then another reboot that's coming up that has aliens. Alf is supposedly working on a reboot as well. I don't know how excited I loved Alf back in the 80s when it came out. I don't know how it will fly nowadays. I guess it would do okay. Nostalgia-wise, I guess it's something you want to, you know, think about, I suppose. But I just don't know. So we'll see. I'm not 100% certain about. I guess we'll have to wait and see how it looks and feels again with Roswell. You get a general idea they're going to try to do the same thing that they did with the old show. Or are they going to do that with Alf? Is it going to be a new family? Is it going to be the same puppet, same voice? I don't know. And one other reboot in reboot news: Frasier. Kelsey Grammer and David Hyde Pierce are discussing the possibility of doing a Frasier reboot. Again, reboots are okay, I guess, but it gets to a point where, like Jeff Goldblum said, they had their chance, and God systematically destroyed them, sent them to extinction. You had your chances, and you were done, and you left. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because in some cases, a few years out from when you were back on all the time, new ideas happen, new perspective happen, you get older, you get new writers coming involved who are interested in that kind of thing. But it just seems like no one has any original ideas anymore, and all they're doing is rebooting stuff over and over again. Now, I know a lot of reboots have been successful, and that's why they keep doing that, because when you see a business model that's working, you're going to want to keep doing it. But at the same time, though, you got to reach a point where, you know what, it's a little bit oversaturation. Now, oversaturation is, again, we'll have to wait and see about that, because right now, comic book movies are all the rage, and you could start saying that there's an oversaturation of that, but they're still making a lot of money. And I guess if the shows do well, I guess Will and Grace's reboot did really well. The Roseanne reboot did okay till she opened her big mouth. The X-Files reboot did okay as well. They got two seasons out of that. What are some other ones I'm thinking of? I can't think of any other ones off my head, but there are, you know, so you have the two big things that are going on in television world now. You got reboots, and you got shows that were canceled by the networks that are being picked up by other streaming services to continue their series due to the outcry of the fans. So we'll wait and see that. But again, I don't know. And Patrick agrees. No, I'm done with. Yes, and I forgot about Charmed. Yes, I have heard about the Charmed one. Again, not really that interested in seeing it either. No offense, but I think it's some stuff new. I think it's some new stuff. Sorry, this is delicious. And I'm going to skip around real quick because this is the breaking news of the day, and I have to hit it now early on the show so that it seems like I'm being relevant. Patrick Stewart. Everyone loves Patrick Stewart. He's had a wide-ranging career. He doesn't seem to age. If you've seen pictures of him in the 80s and now, he looks pretty much the same. One of his most famous roles he ever did is Captain Jean-Luc Picard on the Star Trek Next Generation TV show. It ran 7 seasons and then spun off, 4 movies? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4, 5. 4 movies. Spun off 4 movies. The big news today is Patrick Stewart, along with the new, or one of the producers of Star Trek, I forget who his name is right now. They were at a Star Trek convention in Las Vegas, and they came out and said, it's official. Jean-Luc Picard will be coming back in a brand new Star Trek TV series, which would be on the CBS streaming service where Discovery is, Star Trek Discovery is. So this will be the second ongoing Star Trek TV show, and they're bringing back Patrick Stewart as Captain Picard. And Patrick Stewart mentioned, I thought I was done with it. It was a character that I loved playing, but I need a little bit of time away. Time has gone away and has come back to me now and is like, you know what? It's been almost 10 years since I played the role, maybe even longer. I think it's time for me to get back into the saddle again, and he is up and doing it. Now, we have no other idea what the show is going to be about. We do not believe it will be a reboot of Star Trek Next Generation. We think it's going to focus more on Captain Picard, who might not be captain anymore. He might have retired by now because he's been, let's see, 1987, 1994 would make it when the show ended, and then the movies afterwards. Been almost, as I said, like 10, 12, 15 years since he played the role. And it would just make sense. He's older, that captains would be retiring soon. And so there's been some people who've been pitching their own ideas, and a few of them are good ideas, have him retired on a planet filled with archaeological digs and stuff like that all over the place, and he has like an Indiana Jones sort of adventures on this planet, discovering alien civilization, stuff like that from his own planet, which is a really good idea, actually. So we'll see what they got planned for that. So that's gonna be coming up really, really soon on the streaming. Not probably right away, since they just announced it. It probably will not be out probably till next year, but they need to get the story idea, script, the sets, casting, directors, everything they want to do. I'm pretty sure they're going to get Jonathan Frakes to come in and direct some episodes. It would just make sense, and we'll see if we're going to get some crossovers with some of the former members of the Next Generation coming in there. But I kind of think I would like that down on the low, maybe periodically they show up, but make the show about Picard and his new group of friends or whatever, doing whatever they're doing. I like the idea of them doing adventures like archaeological Indiana Jones type of things, doing archaeological digs of alien civilizations on other planets, and you're learning about these aliens. I think that's a really cool idea. That's just me though. So we'll see. But it's a old Captain Picard, retired, doing his thing, probably. So it could be a lot of fun. He will be playing Jean-Luc Picard, and it is a Star Trek series. Ryan Reynolds wanted to play Wally West Flash, as I suggested, actually. In an interview a while back, he said that while he was okay with Green Lantern, it wasn't the greatest film, but he was okay when it came. He thought when DC came knocking, they were going to ask him to be Wally West Flash, and I've been pushing that forever. When it was announced that he was going to be Green Lantern, I was saying he'd be okay, but I think he would have been done better as a Wally West Flash. Now seeing that Ryan Reynolds agrees with me is a really good feeling and idea. Yes, Patrick. I'm talking about Patrick Stewart. Though everybody does love Patrick Smith as well. And that should be its own show. Everybody loves Patrick Smith. See? There you go. You need new ideas? There's a new one for you. Everybody loves Patrick Smith. There you go. And you can get Patrick Stewart to star in it too, with you. The two Patricks. Researchers discover... What the hell did I write? Something that produces pure gold. Researchers discover something that produces pure gold. It's like a virus or something. I don't know. I can't, my writing is awful, so I couldn't tell you what that. So sorry about that story. I couldn't tell you. Researchers discover Bacchians that produce pure gold. I have no idea what that is. We've had an exorbitant amount of rain in the East Coast of the Mid-Atlantic states. For one, I'm okay with it because I love the rain and I hate hot summers. So this has been a nice, cool, wet summer, and I've enjoyed it immensely. But a lot of people don't, and it has been heavy rain and a lot of stuff. We've had lots of flooding due to the saturation of the ground. Well, Hershey Park, which is a park that we go to, we're only 90 minutes away, and we go to it every year, at least twice a year, and we love it. And we're going again at the end of August, actually, for a weekend, Labor Day weekend. Actually, we'll be going up there for just our last summer hurrah before school starts for the kids. Hershey Park was flooded due to this rain we've been having. Now, for those who don't know, Hershey Park has a little, I don't know if it's a river, tributary, something like that, that runs through the park. So obviously with the rain, and a lot of it is hill, there's lots of hills. So there's lots of hills going down. Of course, you're also going up them, but there's lots of hills going down. So obviously, you know, the heavy rain hits, boom, and it rolls down the hills, and it engulfs this river tributary thing and fills it up, and then it overflows off of its thing, and it goes and hits other stuff. The river runs pretty much through the whole park, so all parts of the park are going to have little bits of flooding here and there. There were some pictures that I posted that I thought were recent, but then I discovered this was back from like 2009 or 2014 when last time it flooded pretty badly. So it's a occurrence that they're used to. So it's not like it's going to shut down the park for the rest of the summer or whatever. In fact, they've been open the last few weeks, I think, despite this, but still interesting and kind of scary also. I forgot to put this in with the reboot stuff. Elizabeth Banks is going to be directing a Charlie's Angels reboot. I think it's a movie. I don't think it's a TV show. Kristen Stewart of Twilight fame, Naomi Scott, and Ella Ballwether are going to be the Angels, and Elizabeth Banks is going to be Bosley, which I think is freaking hilarious. And she's going to be directing the movie as well. So again, one I'm probably not that excited. I want to go see, but hey, more power to you. And it's good to see Elizabeth Banks, a female director, doing a female-led movie, and hopefully it does very well. Bongo Comics, which is the comic imprint that had been printing comics based on The Simpsons. They were doing all kinds of Simpsons comics. They were doing The Simpsons comics, and they were doing Radioactive Man comics, and they were doing Treehouse of Horror comics and Mo, and they had a whole bunch of other spin-offs that they did, Lisa, Bart Simpson ones, Krusty the Clown comics, stuff like that. It was a prolific comic company for close to 20 years. They announced that they will be shutting down after 25 years, which is a shame because they actually were some pretty decent comics. And I bought a bunch of them in the old days when I worked at Diamond, and I saw them more often, and I had more disposable income. And they were really good. And I always would like to buy the Treehouse of Horror annuals that they bring out every year, which is basically their version of the Treehouse of Horror shows they do on the TV show, but in comic book format. That way you can do more things than you can with the animation. So that was always fun to see as well. This just sounds disgusting. Mayonnaise ice cream. I don't even want to talk about that anymore. It just seemed like a weird headline, and lots of those go up and down. Breaking news by Holiday. Oh, dang it. Yep, that's right. That's what you do. You only get the best news here. Patrick. Mayonnaise ice cream. I don't get it. I don't want to get it. I'm never going to get it. And neither should you. But apparently some people do like it, so whatever. Ugh, just no. Speaking of science, the edge of space crept 12 miles closer to Earth recently. That's the story. The edge of space is 12 miles closer to the Earth. The edge of space is probably trillions of miles away, so it's not that big of a deal. But I just thought it was an interesting headline, and why not mention it on the show? Kills time also. Blood moon was this weekend also. Total lunar eclipse that we did not be able to see. That was overseas. They got to see it. Mercury on retrograde and Mars close to the Earth all happened last week. So if you had a shitty week last week, that's the reason why. So huzzah, all that's over and done with, so we won't have to worry about that ever again. This has been an ongoing joke on Dylan Knows with MJ Khan. We discuss comic book movies and comic books and stuff like that. The Gambit movie has been on and off just as many times as the Crow movie has, and is now off again. So once again, no Gambit movie is coming anytime soon. This time, though, it is probably closer due to the reasoning that the Fox-Disney merger is now complete. $71.3 billion merger. So it is now complete. Comcast is no longer trying to edge their way into it. Fox has been folded into Disney right now, which means that the Fox Marvel characters are now going to be folded into the MCU. Don't get too excited, though. You're probably not going to see any Fox superheroes probably till about 2020 at the earliest. So who knows? Fantastic Four is the big one on that one. Same with the X-Men, I guess. But the X-Men, you see, have already had lots of movies, and some of them have been pretty good. Fantastic Four has had some shitty ones. And so now that it's within the fold of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, now you can get to the people who actually know what makes the Fantastic Four work. Now, to be fair, I liked the first Fantastic Four movies with Chris Evans, the Human Torch, and that cast there. But now you're going to actually get a serious Fantastic Four thing. And I think this was a joke, but Chris Evans says he would love to come back as the Human Torch in Marvel Cinematic Universe reboot of Fantastic Four, which is funny because he's retiring as Captain America after Infinity War 4 or Avengers 4, or whatever it's going to be called now. So that's been $71.3 million $71.3 billion merger. Now, despite that merger, and this is going to be touched on in the next show in about 30 minutes from now. I'll get to the storyline. That does not make them the most what's what I'm looking for? The most successful company, I guess. There is a company that just jumped over the $1 trillion mark in businesses, and they're the first company to do that. And we'll talk about that next show. No, mayonnaise ice cream. That's right. Patrick Smith agrees with me. No to mayonnaise ice cream. Oh, yes, to Midnight Grape Kickstart, though. Oh, yeah. I got to get moving because I'm getting close to my time frame for a first episode. No, I'm not going to talk about that because that has turned out to not be true, so I'm going to cut that. Like a metro subway transportation public transportation group in Vancouver, British Columbia, now has Seth Rogen as the voice of the public transportation. So you see him, doors open, doors closing, but it'll be his voice. So that's interesting, I guess. Star zooms past black hole, proves the theory of relativity. So starting gets sucked into the black hole, and because of the way it went, and it went past the black hole, it is actually proving Albert Einstein's theory of relativity is true. So hooray, Albert Einstein knew what he was talking about. Dead stars eating its planets. that's to be expected. You know, when a planet dies, it's going to explode usually, and that's what's going to happen to our sun eventually. It'll go supernova, and it'll, you know, spread out, and it'll destroy all the inner planets, basically from Mercury all the way to about probably Jupiter. Jupiter's going to be okay though, but all that'll probably be eaten by our sun. So it happens. Stars eat planets, and yet the edge of space is 12 miles closer to the Earth. 12 miles appears again when a 12-mile lake has been discovered hiding beneath the Martian surface, which means now there's water on Mars, a lake 12 miles down. Much like other heavenly bodies in the solar system, there is water's been discovered, or they are pretty sure that there's an ocean on Europa, moon of Jupiter. Titan has not water like we know it, but it's got a different type of liquid ocean type of thing, which is crazy cool, and I want to see that. Actually, I wish we'd have rovers there and take some, you know, beachfront pictures of some of this cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, they've been looking for water for a long time, and this could very well prove. I mean, they've already known that at one time Mars had water on it, and they've been looking for water before, and, you know, it has the ice cap, so it's some sort of liquid freezing up at the tops of the caps where it's colder. Now we know there's a lake somewhere 12 miles down beneath the surface of Mars. So obviously they're probably going to create some sort of rover that's going to be able to drill into that water, and we'll see what happens. So I don't know what happened with. Let me see if I can look this up, because this story isn't going to be as exciting if this didn't happen. So bear with me a second there, Patrick, and everybody else watching. While I'm looking, Power Rangers Build-A-Bear. Now the Build-A-Bear has been really getting into all kinds of different characters. So they do Pokemon ones, they do Avengers ones, they do stuff like that. But now they have Power Ranger Build-A-Bear. So if you go into Build-A-Bear and you want a Power Ranger Build-A-Bear, you can get a Power Ranger Build-A-Bear. There's a Narwhal now that's going to be there. So Build-A-Bear is actually a really cool idea. So let's see who won. All right, let's see. American Arena Football League homepage. I got to find out who won their Super Bowl. Damn it. So it doesn't matter, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because it's actually pretty interesting. Baltimore, despite it not having a hockey team, a national basketball team, an NBA team, an NHL team, whatever, we have a baseball team in the Orioles, which we're going to talk about next show as well, because, man, that's really bad right now. And we have the Ravens, of course. Obviously, Ray's probably talking now, or his daughter is going to be presenting him before he comes up. So it's probably happening right now. But Baltimore's football history has been extraordinarily interesting. And to be honest, and this is, again, not me being a homer, but this is proof that our city is probably the best city for football when it comes to championships. And let me explain why. The NFL started in Baltimore with the team, well, not literally started, but we had a team in the NFL in the Baltimore Colts. Baltimore Colts won lots of championship games, which was before the Super Bowl came out. That was like their version of the Super Bowl. So they had won lots of championship games there. So they were the best team in the country, whatever. And then the Super Bowl came in the 60s, and the Colts entered in Super Bowl III, lost a shocker to the Jets, and then came back 2 Super Bowls later and beat the Dallas Cowboys for a Super Bowl win. So the Baltimore Colts won Super Bowl V, so they have a Super Bowl ring as the Baltimore Colts. I've actually worn one. Tom Maddie used to do a radio show on the radio station that I used to work for, and I did an event with him once, and he let me wear his Hall of Fame, or not Hall of Fame, his Super Bowl ring. And it's heavy. It literally made my finger go like that. It was that heavy. So yeah, the Baltimore Colts. Okay, so we all know what happened to the Baltimore Colts. So they won Super Bowl V, so they won a Super Bowl. That's the Baltimore Colts. They moved to Indianapolis in 1982, 83. and we did not have football for 14 years. Now we can get into you stole the Browns. I get into that all the time, and I'll bring that up again when football season actually physically starts in about a month or so. I'm going to always have to defend what the Ravens did or what Art Modell said, and that he belongs in the Hall of Fame, but that's for another time. So we didn't have a football team for 14 years. In that 14-year span, we did get a what was it? It was like the American Football League or something like that. It was a summertime football program that Donald Trump was a part of, as well as a bunch of other people as well. Like the AFL. It wasn't the AFL because that was before the NFL, but it was an American football. Where they were trying to bring football during the summer to keep people's interest going on, and they were completely different teams. And Baltimore was able to get one of these teams. The 1 year we had the team, we won their version of the Super Bowl. So Baltimore's AFL, whatever I forget what the name of it is, that American Football League team in the 80s, we won the Super Bowl there too. Their Super Bowl, I don't know what that was called, but we won that one as well. So there's another championship we had. Then, fast forward to the 90s, that didn't last long. It lasted a couple of years, and then it died. You go into the early 90s, Canadian Football League wanted to spread out into the United States, and they start a little bit before the NFL does. So, especially during the summer. I think they're during the summer also. So Baltimore got a CFL team, the Baltimore Stallions. We only had them, I think, for 2 years. One of those years, we won the Grey Cup, which is their version of the Super Bowl. See where I'm going? So we've had, at this point, 3 different iterations of professional football, and each one, Baltimore has won a Super Bowl. And then comes the Ravens. The Ravens came into being in 1996. Again, we'll talk about that aspect later, closer to football season. But we were bad for 3 years. And then Brian Billick came in and started coaching us, and we became better. Ray Lewis was one of the reasons why we became a better team. We had that stifling defense, probably one of the best defenses of all time in the year 2000, and they won the Super Bowl that year. There you go. Baltimore again. Colts. It was the Stars, the Stallions, and the Ravens. All professional football teams, 2 from the NFL, 1 from the whatever the American League was in there, and the Canadian Football League, won Super Bowls from Baltimore. And then, boom, the Ravens did it again in 2012. So now we also got recently, I think last year or 2 years ago, we got an Arena Football League team, which plays during the summer again as well. They made it to their Super Bowl this year, where they played the Washington Valor. And apparently the Washington Valor just beat the Baltimore Brigade 69-51 in their Super Bowl. So we haven't won that one yet, but we're still an Arena Football League team. We made it this year. Who's to say that we're not going to make it again next year and win it then? You never know. We have a history. We've won it 2 NFLs, the American, whatever it was in the 80s, Canadian Football League. However, we did not win with our lingerie football team. Yes, we did have a lingerie football team at one time. We don't anymore. I think they lasted 2 years also. We did not win whatever their Super Bowl was, unfortunately. But, okay, so we'll see what happens. So Baltimore is a good professional football team, professional football city, because we win. Do nothing but win, baby. Hey, all right. Patrick's got me on the big screen. Hey, Patrick. Thank you. And I got another viewer, so thank you, whoever's viewing me again. If you are someone I know, go through Twitter. Go to @Holodill. I think it's @Holodill. Is that who you're doing it at, Patrick? Yeah, I think you are. Yep. @Holodill, you can talk to me, and I'll respond to you. I respond to Patrick all the time because he's awesome. So I just found that kind of interesting that Baltimore's had that kind of history when it comes to things like that. All right, not a lot left here. Speaking of Ryan Reynolds is going to produce and appear in a Home Alone reboot. Oh my God, I missed this in the other reboot. A Home Alone reboot. No, he's not going to play Kevin's role. He's probably gonna play the dad, you know. So we'll see. But a Home Alone reboot. Do we really need a Home Alone reboot? No, we don't. Home Alone is a classic. It's a Christmas regular film I watch every Christmas because it is great and it is fun to watch. Fans of Mad Max Fury Road might be happy about this. Australia has named Mad Max Fury Road the best movie of the century. Granted, it's only been 18 years since our century started, but hey, in that 18 years, according to Australia, Mad Max Fury Road is the best picture of the best movie of the century. And you know what? There are going to be people who agree with that. There are people I know who absolutely love that movie. And I lost my one viewer, so well, they didn't want to get called out and say, "Oh no, I just wanted to watch. I didn't want to talk to you. Now you put all this pressure on me." September 15th is Batman Day. I think that might actually be also the same weekend as our Reisterstown Festival. So that's pretty cool that they're going to share that. So they do this every year. They'll probably have a free Batman comic out there for people to come into the local comic book store and pick up. They'll probably have like Batman sales and stuff like that. Batman is fantastic right now. Tom King is killing it as the writer of Batman. I've heard good things about Detective. I haven't read it, but I've heard good things about Detective. But Batman, I've been reading every issue, and I love what Tom King's doing with it. So I'm happy about that. Margot Robbie, played Harley Quinn, is in talks to produce an all-woman Shakespeare drama series. Now that's something I can get behind. A TV series, I guess, just he says series, not movie, but a drama series about Shakespearean women. That's a good idea. And congrats to you, Margot Robbie. I think you can get that off the ground. I might actually watch that. I think it might actually really, really good. I'm a Shakespeare alumnus myself. Granted, it's only been one play, and I've done it twice, acted in it twice, and helped produce a version of it on stage also. So I don't know what's going on with that. But to do a show about Shakespearean women is a fantastic idea. And that's the type of ideas we need to get. Yes, Shakespeare is old. He's like, oh, you're bringing back Shakespeare, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I think Patrick's leaving me. Yeah. So I think it's a good idea. Shakespeare is old, but you don't really see a lot of Shakespeare on TV now. And it would be even better if they do it in Shakespearean language. I think it'd be fantastic. So go for it, Margot. I'll back you on that one. Lego has a 6,000-piece Hogwarts castle set out now. Okay, 6,000 pieces. Yeah, no, not going to happen. Actually, a friend of mine from Twitter at NotNance, he has been tweeting earlier today about him trying to put together the Lego Voltron, and it took him 2 hours to put together the Yellow Lion because of its intricacies and stuff like that. So that was always neat to see. So Lego's going absolutely bonkers. A 6,000-piece Hogwarts castle. That's insane. But yeah, what do you got to do? Terry Hatcher dressed up and reprises her role as Lois Lane at San Diego Comic-Con. She was dressed in a costume that she wore on the show and had her hair done and makeup, so she looked exactly like Lois Lane from Lois and Clark. And she was going around San Diego Comic-Con interviewing people dressed up as Superman. And I think that's a really cool idea. I wish I would have seen that. So you can find that somewhere. It's pretty cool. Luxury Space Hotel launches in 2021. $9.5 million to stay for 12 days. I guess that could be kind of cool. But to be honest, I think at this point, I would rather spend that money for my coffee shop if I had $9.5 million, but I don't. Or I like to spend a lot less and go to one of these Scandinavian countries and have one of the domed sleeping hotel things where you can see the Aurora Borealis at night. I'd rather do that personally, but that's just me. A Time Bandits TV show. Now, this actually could be interesting. Time Bandits is one of these great films that not a lot of people know about, and it's actually a lot more interesting than you think it is, and has one of the most whacked out endings you've ever seen, but it is a great film about um, little people, midgets, whatever. I think midgets is a bad term for them, but little people who have helped God create the universe, and now they decide that they want to do something for themselves. So they use God's map of the universe, where there are certain holes in time where they're able to go through, and then they rob from that periods of time. So they steal stuff from that period of time and take it for their own well-being. They end up getting hooked up with a modern day for that time kid, and they go on an adventure through all time and history while they're taking on a very demonic looking character, played by David Warren, I think, if I recall correctly. Great movie, fantastic movie. I think a TV show actually might do it justice, because time travel shows, you can do so much with it, particularly if you cast little people, and it's great because they need representation, as does every race, creed, sex, whatever. They need to have some sort of representation on TV. And I think this is a great idea and could be potentially a really good show as well. So put that up again, put that next to Margot Robbie's Shakespearean Women show, and damn, you got a nice block of TV that I might sit back down and watch. Yeah, Margot Robbie, baby. That's what Patrick Smith's excited about that too. 1 in a million gender mutation created a yellow male cardinal, and this was in Alabama. Someone got a picture of this. I love cardinals, and we have a generation of cardinals out there. I would say a generation because we moved to this house in 2004. That's 14 years we've lived in this house, and during that time span, we have seen male and female cardinals. Sometimes we start off with 2, and sometimes we've seen more than that, 4, 6, whatever. So I like to believe that it's the same cardinal family, because cardinals don't live that long. I like to believe that it's the cardinal family. They like this area, so they're hanging around here. This is their town. This is their hood, and it's always great to see them in the snow. Particularly, I've got a really great picture of one of the cardinals in an evergreen tree with snow around them. And it's awesome. And we see the cardinals all the time. It's always good to see them. And I'm glad they're here. And if I never saw them, I'd miss them, I think. But the fact is, a yellow cardinal is just a really neat idea as well. And it's really, really cool. I don't think I want to get into this right now because I'm running out of time. Yeah, I'm gonna do this another time. I'm not gonna talk about this right now. It's a controversial type of thing. There's another controversial thing I have on the next show. Probably not gonna cover that as well because I want to keep things light and goosey. So we've got 2 more things. So I'm gonna be on the edge of an hour exactly, but it will be close enough. As I said, last weekend was my movie marathon with my daughter. My daughter is going to be 12 in December, so I've been slowly but surely showing her some of the movies I think she'll like, and she can handle PG-13 movies, and she shows more of an interest in the movies than my son does, which is fine. Let's see. In January, we did a Marvel Cinematic Universe marathon because she hadn't seen at that time. She hadn't seen all the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, so she finally got to see all them before we saw Black Panther and Avengers Infinity War. So she did that. So we did that in January. In May, I introduced her to some other shows and movies. Back to the Future is the big one on that one. We watched the whole trilogy there, and there were a few other ones that we got in there as well. So this time I wanted to do some different stuff. So we actually did 12 movies in 2 days, so 6 a day. And yeah, that's all we did. We went out for like maybe dinner on Sunday for an hour, and then we went out, and I had to go get groceries on Saturday, and I was out there we spent most of the time watching movies. So on Saturday, we started off with The Matrix, which she liked. She said it blew her mind, but she seemed to like it. Followed up with Men in Black. These are the first time she's seen all these movies. Men in Black, she liked it, and again said that movie blew her mind also, particularly with our universe being in a marble, which is the thing that happens at the end of the movie. The Addams Family, the new version with Raul Julia, Christina Ricci, and Angelica Houston, Christopher Lloyd. She was kind of she thought it was a little weird, and she was like, why is Wednesday trying to kill her brother? And why are her parents encouraging it? And so I had to explain to her what it was all about, and she says like, "Oh, okay." So I don't think she really enjoyed it. So I want to show her Addams Family Values. We'll see. Maybe I'll wait till next year for that. 13 Going on 30, which is a really nice. I love that movie, and it's sweet, and it's something that she can connect with. And actually, it's really funny because there's a scene in it where Jennifer Garner, as a 30-year-old who still has the mind of a 13-year-old girl, sees her boyfriend at that time, who she has at 30s, doing a striptease for her, and she's like trying to hide her eyes and go, "Ugh, I don't want to see this." Noelle was doing the same thing. It was really, really funny. Twister. She was more in awe of the Twisters than the characters. Hopefully, we'll see that again down the line, and she'll get to know the characters better than the awe factor of the Twister. I can understand the awe factor of the Twister first, but the characters are what make that movie. And then we ended it the night with Jurassic World, which she really, really liked as well. Sunday, we started with Raiders of the Lost Ark, which she'd never seen before. She really, really liked that. Followed it up with Tomb Raider. She was okay with that. The Replacements, which if you haven't seen it, which we talked about, Keanu Reeves and a football movie, typical cliched loser football players come together as a team and become winners. It was filmed in Baltimore in Ravens Stadium. Has Gene Hackman, Keanu Reeves, Jon Favreau, Rhys Ifans, and a whole bunch of other people in it as well. Orlando, I want to say Brown, I think. It was in it as well. So it's a great movie. It's fun. It's silly. And it's a cliched movie, but it's fun, and it's great to see all the Baltimore sites, and my daughter loved it. The X-Men with Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier. I thought she would like it because it was one of the original comic book movies. She didn't really seem to like it all that much, and I don't know what it was. She just said the story just was a lot of talking, and then boom, it was action, and then it was over. And she's like, "Why are they wearing these black leather costumes?" And so I had to explain to her in 2000 when X-Men came out, or rather 1999, whatever it was. I think it was 2000 when X-Men came out. The Marvel Cinematic Universe had not existed yet, so comic book movies were not hugely popular at that time. They were just starting to get more popular again. And this, along with Spider-Man, were ones that sort of got the ball rolling to make them popular now. But at that time, they were trying to reason with the broader aspects. So they didn't want people, they figured that people wouldn't want to watch people in blue and yellow spandex and so on and so forth. They'd rather do more realistic portrayal of it. So we'll see. I think I'll show her X-Men 2. And maybe she'll like that better. So we'll see. But she grew up, but she saw the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She's followed all that, and she really loves those. So when she sees something that she thinks is lesser than that, she's like, it's understandable. I think her favorite movie is this next one, was Fly Away Home. Now, this is a movie you haven't seen it yet. You have to see it. If you want a good cry, this is a good film to see it. If you are a dad with a daughter, this is a good film to see with. It's a great story. It's PG. The basic story is a young girl loses her mother in a car accident, and her estranged father, who she hasn't seen in years, is now her guardian and moves her from Australia to Canada. And she's right in the midst of her teenage, she's just starting her teenage angst. She's like 12, 13 years old. And she's just starting her your teenage stuff, trying to recover from the loss of her mother, who she's known all her life and loved forever, and a man that she barely remembers, and a place she doesn't like. And I'm not wearing my headphones. Can you hear me okay, Patrick? You can. Obviously you can. You've been tweeting me, so that's weird. I should be wearing my headphones, but I'm not. Oh well. Maybe the second part of the movie. I don't think I'll put them on, though. I think I'll just leave them on. Leave them off. If you can hear me, obviously. So her and her father then bond over the fact that a bunch of goose eggs, the mother gets killed during there's people who are trying to tear down the forest around them to build a condominium, stuff like that. And the mother goose gets killed and leaves a bunch of babies, and the girl finds them and takes them with her, and she hatches them, and she becomes their de facto mother, but they have to learn how to fly south. So her dad creates like a flying thing for them, and then the geese have to follow them down. And it's a really great story. It's wonderful, fantastic. Jeff Daniels is in it, Anna Paquin. And the actress is fantastic. I forget what her name is right now. She's the voice of Lois Lane, Dana Delaney. She's in it as well. So it's a pretty good one. And then we ended our movie marathon with Independence Day, her first time seeing it, and she liked that as well. So that goes for this. Real quick. Yeah. Thank you. Yep. Just wait till our next one. I have a whole pile of them that I want her to see, and she let her pick and choose them. So we'll see. So now we're gonna do real quick all the movies that are celebrating anniversaries 2 weeks ago. 32 years ago, and there's some music in there as well. 32 years ago, REM is my favorite band. One of their best albums, Life's Rich Pageant, came out. 31 years ago, Weird Al Yankovic's film UHF came out. 31 years ago, Summer School, which is an amazing film with Mark Harmon and Kirstie Alley, which I absolutely love, came out as well. Courtney Thorne-Smith's in that one as well. About a gym teacher who is forced to teach summer school to a bunch of losers. And again, it's one of those cliche things where they start off being losers, but gradually he becomes a good teacher and teaches them and helps them do much better in their studies. Two okay sequels. 27 years ago, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey came out, and 30 years ago, Big Top Pee-wee came out. Big Top Pee-wee was a big disappointment after the amazingness that was Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is one of those films I'm still kind of, I need to go see it again, and maybe I should show Noelle that because she's seen the original Bill and Ted's, and she really, really likes that one. So maybe I should show that for her, and maybe I can get into that again. It's been a while since I've seen it. 22 years ago, The Craft came out, Neff Campbell in that one. 35 years ago, Dennis Quaid, and I believe it was Meg Ryan, maybe. I could be wrong. Jaws 3D. I actually saw that in the movie theater, and I have a really interesting story about that. It wasn't 3D, so I had the 3D glasses on. There was one time where a orca or something comes out of the water and splashes, and the water comes flying, so it's going to make it feel like that with 3D it's going to come at you. I felt a drip of water land on me. Now, obviously, it was probably from air conditioning duct or a leak in the roof or something like that, but it just was, the timing was absolutely perfect where the orca was splashing, the water was coming at you in 3D, and I felt a drop on my head. It was really interesting. 20 years ago was Saving Private Ryan, one of these films that I saw it once. I'm okay with it. I'm not going to see it again. It's a great film, but it's just way too heavy for me. I can't watch it again. It's just one of those films I just can't watch again, just the way I am. 38 years ago, I'm all right. Nobody's worried about me. Caddyshack came out. That's a absolute gem. It's also kind of a man's movie, though. I think there are some women out there who like that. 33 years ago, a pretty good sequel, European Vacation, which I actually like slightly a little bit more than Regular Vacation, which I know is blasphemy, but I liked European Vacation a lot. That came out. 33 years ago also was Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So that's a great movie in and of itself. And then Good Burger came out 21 years ago. Purple Rain came out 34 years ago. Purple Rain, Purple Rain. I got a story about that too. The one year where Prince was going to do the halftime show at the Super Bowl, the Ravens were in the hunt, and I think they made it to the championship game, and they lost. I think lost to the Colts, because I think the Colts ended up going to that game. It was the one that was in Miami, and it was raining, and I think they won that one. And I just remember it would have been so perfect if the Ravens could. They were in the playoffs, so I think it was a championship game they made it to. It might have been the second tier one, because they've always won one playoff game. Whenever they got into the playoffs, they've at least won their first game. So it was in this Flacco era, the Flacco Harbaugh era. I think there's been other times earlier where we didn't do that, but in this Flacco Harbaugh era, every time we've made the playoffs, we've won at least one game. But it would have been absolutely perfect because he sings Purple Rain, Ravens. Everything would have just been absolutely perfect. And and it would have been Ray Lewis returning to Miami where he went to school. So, Que Sera Sera didn't happen. La Bamba, La Bamba was 31 years ago. 35 years ago, Regular Vacation came out. National Lampoon's Vacation came out, which is a good movie in and of itself. And 24 years ago, The Mask, which was a comic book movie and also helped cement Jim Carrey as a new comedic voice. And that note, we talked about Saving Private Ryan before. Yes, we have. So we did. Tom Hanks. That's right. We did when Patrick and I did a show where we talked about our top Tom Hanks roles. I think either you or I or we both picked that for one of the roles he was in. Might have been you, Patrick. Well, I'm going to see if I can chug this because that's the end of this episode. Better not put on the printer. All right, so give me 1 second. Patrick, don't go nowhere. I got to make a quick little... You were here the last time I did a double episode. You know what I'm getting ready to do. So I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. La 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 la. Ow! Get my hair on this. Here we go, and we got new music here. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Come on, here we go. This is the Blue Oyster Cult singing Godzilla. Now, I've been a fan of the Blue Oyster Cult. I've been a fan of Blue Oyster Cult for a while, obviously. Don't Fear the Reaper is their most popular song. But I heard this song on our oldie station this week, and I was like, God, is this what I think it is? Because I remember they did a song called Godzilla before, and I never really heard it because I was always obsessed with, Blue Oyster Cult's, Don't Fear the Reaper. That was the only song I really, really liked it there. So then I was like, this is a damn good song. So I went to YouTube, found it, and I fell in love with the song. And it's now the earwig. I've had this song in my head all week since I heard about that. So this is Dylan Knows episode 253. Thank you for hanging out with me. This is a double episode, and this is episode 2 of 2 episodes. Do I have this right? Oops. This is my new outfit, new thing to drink, water here. It was in the freezer. Now it's not as cold, but you know what? It's good enough for me. I should probably put my headphones on, but I'm not going to because I have a feeling if I put my headphones on, I'm going to lose you being able to hear me. So I'm not going to worry about that. You can hear me okay, Patrick, so it's good. And I won't sing Prince again. There you go. Oh, Patrick. Anyway, how the hell are you? It's only been a minute since I last saw you guys. This is my second episode. And again, I'm on vacation, so I wanted to get this out of the way. And so a lot of stuff happened this week, almost as much as last week. So I've already talked about vacation. I've already talked about Hall of Fame. So you know what? I've already covered 2 things already. I figured I'll mix it up a little bit since I just finished last episode with all the movies that came out last week. I'll do the ones that came out this week. Not as much this week and some other stuff as well. The big thing is, and this is funny, August 1st, 1981 was the day MTV launched, and that was 37 years ago. And at the time, and probably for a good 10, 15 years, MTV was the shit. I mean, really. I mean, people loved watching the videos. It was a unique station on cable television. You come after school, you listen to the pop 80s stuff that was huge during the time. And to be honest, that's probably what sold and made the 80s music as big as it was, because you actually saw the videos instead of just listening to the radio. You watched it on TV and you heard the videos, you saw the singers and you saw the outfits, and you imitated it, and it became popular. So MTV was popular for that, but for whatever reason, they decided, I guess maybe with the advent of iTunes or the internet or whatever, where you get your music now other ways, they started shifting to reality TV shows and other stuff as well. And now I don't think they even play any videos now, and it still calls it MTV. It's like, why are you calling it MTV? I don't think you play videos anymore. You still have MTV Video Music Awards. Why? You don't do videos anymore. So it doesn't make any sense. But at the time, it was the shit. And it was what everybody, all the cool kids watched and listened to, and it was what got you into your music. Also, August 1st was Howard the Duck, 1986. So that would be 86, 96, 2006, 2016, 32 years ago. 32 years ago, Howard the Duck came out. That was one of the movies I wanted to show Noel. But here's the thing. It's half of a good movie. Now, I know everybody's like, oh, it's a weird little guy dressed up as a duck, and it's weird stuff going on, and it's crazy. It's not a great movie. It's not a bad movie for the first half. When it starts going off into the sci-fi horror direction, that's when things got a little loopy. But you have sexy Leah Thompson. You got Tim Robbins, who had just started, so he wasn't Mr. Dour political activist guy. He was a little bit of a Bull Durhamish type of comedian, type of having fun doing stuff. And it was an interesting film. And it was one of those that I wanted to go see, and I saw in the movie theater because I had been interested in it. And yeah, it's not a great movie, but it's about a half of a great movie. You got to remember, in the comics world, Howard the Duck is a satire. Its whole reason for being was to take a look at what was going on in the world at that time and make fun of it. Steve Gerber, who created Howard the Duck, made it a satirical comic. So it would make fun of, the kung fu movies and the politics and the war and stuff like that was going on around that time, in a way that was different because you had a duck perspective of it. And so they changed up a little bit, where they gave it a little bit of perspective, but they made it more from he's a duck that finds a rock group and falls in with them, but then gets involved with aliens from outer space or from another dimension and crazy bullshit like that. But it's half of a good movie. You know what, Patrick? For you, I will talk about it. Patrick just said, hey, Holodill, we got to talk about the elephant in the room. And by that, I mean the big pink flamingo behind me. I'm glad you brought that up. You see it right over there. Perspective. There it is right there. That's my pink flamingo light. Okay. I'm trying to remember where. Okay, I guess this is where it started. When I first was dating Dawn, who's now my wife, for those who don't know me by now, Patrick knows who Dawn is. But for those who don't know me, Dawn is my wife. And when I started dating her in 2000, her family is very close and tight-knit. It's also big. She's got 2 other sisters. When I started dating her, her middle sister, Shannon, was engaged to be married. So that was the first rung on the ladder for, a new generation of Feekses, as they were. Anyway, but they also, since they're really close, they're also close to Dawn's close to her male cousins. She's got 2 boy cousins. She doesn't have any brothers, but she's got 2 male cousins who were treated basically like brothers. So they are technically seen as their brothers. And so whenever they all got together for Christmas, they would do like gag gifts and stuff like that. Now, the 2 cousins, whenever they brought new boyfriends or whatever to these Christmas parties, they would like to kind of haze them a little bit by getting crazy Christmas presents for them. So the first Christmas 2000 that we spent together, I think it was Christmas 2000 when this happened. No, it was Christmas 2001. when because I actually didn't meet her family until December of 2000. We started dating. Oh, disgusting. I just got this new shirt and there's plastic that's sticking into it. The plastic piece sticking into it. I started dating Dawn in September of 2000, and I didn't meet her folks until December 2000. Now, I met her sisters in October of 2000, but I hadn't met her parents until December because Shannon, the middle sister who was engaged to be married, her birthday is December 4th, I think, or 3rd. No, it's 4th, I think. Anyway, so 2001 Christmas. It was my first full Christmas with them. I had been with Dawn then for over a year, so I was considered to be part of the family at that point. So we went to her grandmother's house, and her cousins were there, and so they wanted to give out goofy presents. So they, along with my new brother-in-law, who had just gotten married to Dawn's middle sister, this is going to drive me crazy. They bought me this pink flamingo light because they thought, hey, it's pink flamingos and it's goofy and it's a light. And I loved it. And I had it on in our apartment because we moved in together in 2001. So I had it on in our apartment and it was great. And so I loved it. It was fantastic. And so it became sort of a tradition then at my birthday and at other Christmases, they would give me other pink flamingo stuff. So I had like pink flamingo pants and a pink flamingo glasses and other stuff like that. And the joke went on for a few years, and then gradually, we were all married at that point. We were all having kids. So then we said, okay, we got to start forgetting about the gag gifts and start focusing more on the kids and stuff like that. So, but there's the flamingo lamp. Now, the reason why I have it up here now is because I put it up a few weeks ago because it was National Flamingo Day. And I thought, oh, that'd be kind of cool. I'll put my flamingo light up. I haven't put it up in a while. And from that point on, I was like, I kind of like it being there. So I'm going to keep it up for every episode now. So that's what the whole thing about the flamingo is. It's a family traditional joke. Another funny thing we used to have, we don't have it anymore, is Dawn had a pineapple lamp, a pineapple shaped lamp. And it was a family tradition. The gag was every year you would re-gift it to somebody different. And for that whole year, they would have to keep the pineapple lamp in their house. However, it got to a point where nobody wanted the pineapple lamp except for Dawn. So that was in our house as well. So we had a pineapple lamp and we had a flamingo lamp. The kids recently meaning a couple years ago, broke the old school pineapple lamp, and I bought her a new one, and I think I have it in one of these damn boxes behind me. I haven't put it out yet in a while, so we'll put that out again eventually. So that's the story about the flamingo light back there. It's cool. I like it, and there's some other stuff. I got flamingo lights. You can't see them on top of my wardrobe, actual like lights you can strand up around the room or something like that. And I like flamingos. I think they're really cool creatures, and our zoo has a whole bunch of them. So I've got a couple pictures of me in front of the flamingos. Now I'm not going to dig up the light, find it. So that's the whole thing about the flamingo light there, Patrick. See, if you were watching the show, like Patrick was, and you had a question about something, I would stop the show and talk to you about it because I like to talk to people. So Howard the Duck talked about that. 23 years ago, Babe premiered. That's a movie that I'm considering showing Noelle down the line. That's the talking pig movie and the talking animal. She loves animals and stuff like that. I think she might like Babe, so I think she'll like that. So we'll pop that in there eventually. My son might even like that too. 33 years ago, one of my favorite John Hughes movies of all time, and much like what Ant-Man and the Wasp was for Avengers Infinity War, a palate cleanser. Weird Science came out 33 years ago and was a palate cleanser for John Hughes after the huge emotional explosion that was The Breakfast Club. He made The Breakfast Club. It was this huge emotional piece. And after he made it, he's like, you know what? I need to do something different. This is absolutely insane. I need to lighten things up. So he created this movie that is absolutely insane, unrealistic, but a lot of fun, and has a very, very young Robert Downey Jr. in it. Anthony Michael Hall, of course, Ella Mitchell Smith, Kelly LeBrock, and of course Bill Paxton in one of his best roles. I wrote, when I used to have a blog, I wrote a appreciation of his character, Chet from Weird Science, an absolutely great character, and Bill Paxton killed it in that role. And finally, 26 years ago, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, came out. Now, that came out in 1992, and it starred Christy Swanson, Donald Sutherland, and Luke Perry, and Paul Reubens and Rutger Hauer. And it was written by Joss Whedon, but he didn't direct it. And it wasn't exactly what Joss Whedon wanted. He wanted to do more along the lines of what he did with the TV show. He wanted that to be the movie, but when they cast Paul Reubens and a few other things as well and made it more comedic with the name Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it became more of a comedy horror film. And in the end, it's still really funny and it's still a really good movie. But an interesting story about this that I had about this is 26 years ago, when it came out, I was on vacation in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. How do I remember this? Because they had one movie theater in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and that movie was being played there at that time. That was the year we went to Yellowstone and Grand Teton, and it was one of the best vacations I ever had. I think we flew into Colorado. I think we actually flew into Denver, spent some time in Denver, drove up to Wyoming, did Jackson Hole, Grand Teton, Yellowstone, came back, spent some time in Boulder, then jumped to Denver and flew out from Denver. And that was the vacation. Sorry about my armpit. Yeah, I wish I had scissors or something, but it's annoying the hell out of me. So if you see me picking at it, it's just when I squeeze it like this, I can feel the plastic digging into it. But yeah, I'm glad you like the story. It's all true too. And I wish we'd go back to doing those types of Christmas gag gifts. There was one year that her cousins gave. It was they got a bowl, and they put the present in a bowl, and they dumped like canned fruit in the bowl, and they had to reach into the bowl of fruit and pull out the present. Another thing they did also is they found a tire, a full tire on the side of the road. They took it and they put the present inside the rim of the tire, and they had to reach in and grab that. But wrap the tire as if, here's your present, it's a tire. But then it's like, oh no, actually the present's inside. So that's interesting. Now, I got the flamingo light when Dawn's sister Catherine brought her boyfriend, and who is now her husband, or has been her husband for almost 10 years now, but besides the point, Mike, they got him an inflatable snowman. And when we had Christmas at their grandmother's house, she had a big bay window. That was always, the curtains were drawn because it's a big bay window. You don't want people looking on you. So what they did was, while we were partying inside, they stepped out for a little bit and they got the inflatable snowman, and they inflated it so that the snowman was looking into the bay window. So at the end of the night, it's like, okay, we have one last present. Open the blinds. And we're like, what? And they open the blinds. There's a big giant snowman head looking at them. So I think he still has that one too. I think he had it out for their Christmas this year. So that's great. So there's that. So I talked about that already. So there's that. So that's my story about. So that's it for the movies that came out this week. So not a lot apparently that were popular enough to come out this week, but there's what we have. I think next week we'll have Guardians of the Galaxy, because I remember that came out sometime in August. So what do we got going on now? Let's talk a little about sex. It's right after 11 o'clock. Why not? The reason why I want to talk about sex right now is pretty funny, actually. And we'll do some sex stories connected to that, because I got a bunch of them today, which is funny for whatever reason. I do another show called The Comic Hall. I do that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, depending on when I get the time to do it. This week I did it on Wednesday. And basically, it's only about 15 to 20 minutes long, and I show you what comic books I bought this week. I open up the books, I show you the cover and the interior artwork and a little bit about the story, the writers and artists, stuff like that, to try to entice people to go and visit their local comic book store and become regular comic collectors, because the comic industry, despite the fact that the comic book movies are doing well, sales are a little bit down on comic books, and we want to kind of keep the industry going. And plus, the fact is, the majority of people who are keeping the comic book industry running are people like me, people who've been collecting comics for 30 plus years and are still collecting them now. I go to my comic book store all the time, and they're all people my age or older getting the comic books. Now, there have been sort of an uptick with these movies and TV shows that have been popular, but just not big enough. We're trying to get new people to come into the comic book store. So I try to show you, hey, you know what? Comic books are not just for superheroes anymore. There are superheroes, but there's these other books that you might be interested in as well. And also try to convince you, go to a comic book store. Just go in there and take a look around. It'll take 2 seconds. I mean, not 2 seconds literally, but like it'll take 10 minutes out of your life. You go in there, you walk around. Hey, something might catch your eye. You might want to buy it. You might want to get it. And I sort of explain to you what's going on, stories and stuff like that, and get you involved with that. So we do that. So I do this show called The Comic Call. And 2 weeks ago, now, before I get into the point, I understand that my viewership is low. And I know what? I don't give a damn. I do the show because I want to do the show. And as long as Patrick's watching, I'm fine with that. If he's the only one who watches the show, that's fine also. I know he's not the only one. Scott Troutman, who's been on vacation, he usually watches it well. And he probably will start up again next week when he comes back from vacation. But for now, that's fine. And then, you know, I've had some other people come in and watch, and I get some viewers. And I've done something where I've created another Twitter handle at Dylan Proco. It's under the name of Dylan. Dylan Knows is the name of that one. So it's my other Twitter handle. And I retweet a lot of podcasts. And they, in turn, retweet me to their viewers. Not that that's helped bring in people, but it might have, because I've gotten between 7 and 15 viewers on every one of my shows. Every once in a while, I get that weird when I make it 30 or 40 or 50 sometimes, but that's really an aberration. The majority are between like the 7 to 15 range is how many viewers I usually get. You know what? I'm okay with that. So the Comic Call has been a lot less because it doesn't have as much of a wider, you know, people more interested in it. It's only for really comic book people as well. So I get between like 3 and 7 people watching the Comic Call. The other day, 2 weeks ago, my episode 2 weeks ago, for whatever reason, it was just happenstance the way it was, about four of the comic books that I bought that week and I was going to show off at that show had sex scenes in them. I don't know. Sex happens. It happens to comic book characters too. So they had sex scenes in them. So I thought, you know what? I will name my show, you know, Sex in the Single Comic Book Reader or whatever. And I'll talk about, hey, come see sex on the Comic Call and stuff like that. And so I did the show and I didn't show the sexual parts because that's wrong. But I talked about, like, oh yeah, look, there's some sex there. Maybe real quick. It wasn't like there wasn't a lot of nudity in it. But I was like, hey, look, there's some sex. Hey, these characters having sex, stuff like that. So I did that. So then skip forward to about a few days, and I'm going through my videos just to check some stuff out, and I come upon the Comic Call episode. Has 27 views. That is the most views I've had, I think, maybe ever when it comes to the Comic Call. And it just so happened to be the episode with sex in the title of the episode, and the tweets that I put out there for when I was uploading it and also to get people to read it had sex in it as well. So obviously sex sells. So today's episode, when I was pushing that on Twitter, I added a little bit of sex talk because I was going to bring this up and a few other things as well, and see that's going to bring up my things. And so I'll talk about sex in 1 second, but Patrick again said, one of the things we do is pass a fruitcake to each other, but we have to give a reason. We have to give it to the other person. Okay. That's a good tradition. And then also let's talk about sex. Well, it's getting sexy in here. Yes, it is. See, Patrick's trying to help me get more viewers. So that was just a funny story I thought I would bring up because, as I said, the Comic Call gets between 3 to 7 views every episode. And all of a sudden I have a whopping 27. I'm like, holy God. And then I was like, oh, sex. But not only does sex sell, but we're going to talk a little bit more about some other sexy stuff that's been in the news today. This one is just kind of disgusting. Vagina Beer. That's a great band name too. But this is an actual thing from Poland. And it is made with vaginal lactic acid, which apparently these people in Poland get from supermodels or models' panties. I guess it's a leaking thing, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to get into much detail because it's kind of not really needed to know thing. But they get that, and they, in place of like the hops that they put in beer, they put that in its place and ferment it that way. I don't think I want to try that. Yeah, I don't think I want to try that. And it just seems rather, I guess enough lactic vaginal acid gets spread out onto models' underwear that they have enough to make it. I need some water. This is just plain water. It's not vaginal lactic acid water. Jesus. Anyway, the next sex story I want to talk about is one that's another. I guess sex isn't ooh. Sex is nice. Sex is great, but it can also be ew in vaginal beer and also in this. The CDC is warning people to stop rinsing out and washing your used condoms. Look, I know money is tight for a lot of you, and condoms don't cost that much. $10, $15, I guess, for a box. I get a box of 12, but that's, you don't need to know that. I don't need to. Yeah, I'm not going to get any more of that. Ignore that, Patrick. Just and no, you don't clean it and rinse it and reuse it. It doesn't work that way. It's a one and done. When you're done, you're done. In the trash it goes. You don't wash it out and dry it and rewear it the next day, because A, that's just ew, and two, it weakens it. The whole point of a condom is for birth control, is to make sure that your partner does not get pregnant or your partner does not get a disease. That's another thing also. That's why you wear the condom. Now, you can't just focus on women. If you have sex with men, it's not a big deal. But if you have sex with women, you can't just expect them to do the birth control. You got to step up and do the birth control too, because now birth control is a lot hard to get for women right now. Did you say vagina beer? Oh, thank the God. It's like quit drinking 3 or 4 days ago. Yes. Just think about that next time when you're thinking about, you know what, I might want to drink. Think about that vagina beer actually exists in this world. But you can't just focus on women doing the birth control. You got to step up and do it as well. And at the same time, yes, I know sometimes it doesn't feel as good when you have a condom on, but the pull-out method is a tricky one. And, you know, condoms have a 99% effective rating. Yeah, I know there's that 1% in there, but I've never had an issue with that in my entire minimal sexual history. The 2 times that my wife got pregnant, we were planning it, and it was planned, and we had everything worked out, and we were just gonna, no birth control anywhere. But it weakens the condom. It's disgusting after what's in the condom, and also you have that extra protection usually on the outside of the condom, the spermicide, which helps just in case there might be a leak or something happens or whatever. and that'll help maybe effectively kill the sperm as well. When you wash it and re-dry, just besides the ooh factor, it's weakened enough and it won't stay on snugly. That's the thing. You need to keep it on snug. And once it's rinsed and it's extended, it's like a limp sock, you know? Once you have a tight sock on and you've worn it over and over again and you wash it, it gets loose and it starts, you know, riding down a little bit. The same thing's going to happen to you. Just throw it out and use a new one next time. And if you run out, go to the store and get another one. If you're embarrassed, this will give you an example. I get a little embarrassed. How do I do it? I go to grocery stores that have self-checkout lines. Now, Giant has an issue where they have somebody walking around to help bag your stuff, and that's like totally against, well, why do I have to do self-checkout if you're going to bag my shit for me? Weis, on the other hand, which is where I go to now, they just have people walking around just in case, you know, the computer starts going, blah, blah, you're in trouble, blah, 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 you need help. So just bloop, bloop, self-checkout. If you're embarrassed, self-checkout. Easy as pie. Now, it might not be as easy as pie because recently, you know, a lot of times is a lot of these places, they have them in like cases that you have to actually have someone open for you. I guess that might not always work, but for me, the ones that I use, Giant, I don't have those cases, and Weis doesn't have them in cases where they are either. So I can just grab it, scan it, boom, and done. So don't rewash and reuse condoms. It's just disgusting, and it's not going to help. It's not going to do its job. Get a brand new one, man. Seriously. Okay, is there any other sex stuff that I need to talk about? Oh, yeah, Bigfoot porn. You've all probably heard this story, too. And I'm going to sort of defend this a little bit, and I'll tell you why. Bigfoot porn is a real thing. It is obviously not a video, unless you have some dude dressed up as Harry and the Hendersons, and he's doing shit like that. But this is actual stories, books, that are romance novels with people having sex with Bigfoot. Now, Felicia Day used to do the Vaginal Book Club with her and Bonnie and a few others as well. And they would, every month they would meet and they would do these bizarre romance books. I mean, actual books. Some were fantasy ones, which are pretty cool, but they also went on a tangent with dinosaur sex ones as well. And I'm sure they probably did some Bigfoot porn as well. So Bigfoot porn is actually out there somewhere. You can buy it. You can write it if you want. It's like this is basically it's a romance book where Bigfoot's the main character and you have sex with Bigfoot. But apparently there is a United States House Representatives race in Virginia where the Republican candidate was discovered to have an obsession with Bigfoot porn. You know what? Who cares? I know it sounds funny. Hey, conservative Republican loves Bigfoot porn. Bigfoots are mostly men and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, you and your GOP anti-gay stuff, you know, you must be hating this kind of thing. No, it's not necessarily. Not everybody in the GOP is anti-gay. Majority of them are, I'll admit it, but not everybody is. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Okay? He likes Bigfoot porn. While it sounds a little weird, you know what? Who cares? It doesn't matter. It is not going to affect how he governs if he wins the race. Now, I don't want him to win the race because I want the Democrats to win back the House. But I'm not going to ridicule this guy because of his taste in what types of books he wants to read. That's just unnecessary and it's rude. You don't need to do that, okay? Now, yes, politicians are political figures or public figures, and everyone gets, you know, put through a microscope and stuff like that. But you know what? So what? If I ever ran for politics, you know, they might look at me and say, "Oh, he's a comic book fan. Look at all the comic books he's read and stuff like that." Yeah, too much information. Sorry about that, Patrick. you can just get that out of your head. But I have no issue with them being interested in that type of thing. More power to them. I don't care. And I think you guys need to let up a little bit, okay? Because some of the stuff that you like might not be considered normal or regular. And just because somebody likes something that you don't, I tell my son this all the time. If someone doesn't like something you like, that doesn't make them wrong. If they don't like something you like, it doesn't make you wrong. It makes you, you just have to say, okay, it's your prerogative. As I said, there's movies I like, there's movies I hate. The movies I hate, you might like. Movies I like, you might hate. And you know what? I don't care what you think. If you don't like a movie that I don't like, that I do like, excuse me, no big deal. No skin off my nose. Don't attack me over it. How can you like that movie? You're an idiot. No, that doesn't help. I like that movie, okay? As a human being, I'm entitled to my likes, my own dislikes. As are you. I'm not going to attack you if you like something in particular. If you like Bigfoot porn, I'm not going to attack you for that. No need for it. I don't care. I don't read it. I don't think I've ever heard of it until this point, but hey, to each their own. I think that's all the sex I had. God, I got a lot of stuff, and I'm really running late, so I got to get moving. Yeah, I don't think so. Well, regardless, if I get to it, I'll get to it. So we're gonna do sort of a quick. That's right, Bigfoot porn. Yep, that's right. We need to get Bigfoot on there, get him to discuss this. We haven't seen him on Twitter in a while. All right, I'm gonna steam ahead now. We got 15 minutes. Probably no longer than 2 hours, but you know what? That's okay. But I'm gonna aim for 15 minutes. We'll see what I can get done that time. Zoo accused of painting a donkey to look like a zebra. That was in Cairo, Egypt. Okay, that's kind of weird. I guess if you can't get a zebra and you want to draw attention, find something that looks like a zebra and paint it. I mean, I wouldn't do it. But what do I know? I talked about the Orioles briefly. The trade deadline happened July 31st, and the Orioles, who are basically the worst team in baseball right now, pretty much gave away all their good players. Now, they didn't give them away. They got some good prospects in return and some international cash, which they're using to sign international players, which they've never done really in their history. So it's all good, and hopefully, in a couple of years, these prospects will yield something from us. So it's been a weird year for Orioles fans, and they're going crazy with the trades. On the superhero front, this is a really neat idea. I'm not going to talk about this either. This is a really neat idea. Super Pets. There's a bunch of comics and stories out there for kids about the Super Pets. Superman has Crypto, the super dog, and Batman has Ace, the Bat Hound, and Wonder Woman. Supergirl's got Streaky, the super cat, and the super horse, and all this stuff. So all the superheroes have some sort of animal sidekick, and they've done kids' books about them. Art Balthazar and Franco are famous for that. They're two artist writers who do a lot of these stories. So they are finally going to be doing a Super Pets movie in the DC universe. I think that's a really cool idea. I'm betting it's going to be animated, or if not animated, it's going to be at least, computer-generated animals who talk and do stuff. But I'm intrigued to see how they're going to do a Super Pets movie, and I think it's a really neat idea. So good on that. From the world of Spider-Man, Kraven the Hunter is going to get his own movie. Kraven is one of these really interesting villains. There's a great Spider-Man story, one of the best Spider-Man stories of all time, called Kraven's Last Hunt. Kraven is an interesting character, and I think could probably carry his own film. I mean, I think if Venom can do it, why not Kraven? I think he's going to do okay. I talked about that already. Just want to see if there's anything else movie related on here to try to keep things up. Nope. All All right, continuing on. This drives me a little weird. There have been some stories recently, two actually, that I want to talk about real quick about your sleeping habits. Particularly now during the summer, and I'll give you a little perspective of what happened to me when I was a kid also. There's a story out there now that says sleeping with a fan on is bad for your health. And I just have to shake my head because I slept with fans on my whole life. When I was a kid, I used to sleep with a fan on 24/7, not 24/7, okay, 52 weeks a year, 365 days a year. Even during the winter, I had the fan on because I like the white noise. And also, I run a little hot, I think. So I need to have the fan on to cool me off because I can't sleep if I'm hot and I'm boiling or sweaty. I just can't sleep, so it's not worth it. So I have a fan on. Moved into this house that has central air. Now, central air is not strong in the upstairs due to the fact that cold air sinks instead of rises. So I get a little bit of cool air in the upstairs bedrooms, but not enough that makes it comfortable. So there's a distinct change in temperature by about 5 to 10 degrees. You can tell from upstairs and downstairs. So we have fans on in the kids' rooms, and we have a fan on in our room just to keep things cool. And actually, it's been really helpful for me recently because we didn't used to have this fan on all the time. It used to be our ceiling fan, and that was all we had. But we put this on when it just became so unbearably hot last year. And I've noticed this year that you might be hot when you go right to bed with the fan on you, but eventually your body acclimates itself to the temperature in the room, and you got the fan blowing on you all the time. So in the middle of the night, you might wake up and you might get a little chilly, even though you were hot before, and it feels good. So I've always slept with a fan on, and granted, I don't have a fan on anymore. 52 weeks a year, 365 days. I only do it during the summer. Fall, we open the windows that get the cool air that way. Winter, it gets chilly in the bedroom because heat rises, but it's still not warm enough. You still have the way we have our roof, and then we have our attic that has some insulation. But the cold air is still going to come through there, and cold air through the windows. So it's not like freezing cold in the bedroom, but it's cool enough, and so the heat is pretty good about that. So we won't have the fan on during that, obviously. So now they're saying it's bad for you because it can move around dust and pollen that makes your allergies get all whacked out. It can make you have more colds. Dawn has a cold now, but she got that from when she went camping last weekend because of the damp mornings. It's not because we had the fan on her. And also, if you have that cold air blowing on you all the time, eventually your muscles or whatever are going to tighten and hurt, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. So I think it's ridiculous not to have a fan on, and that they're saying you really shouldn't sleep with your fan on. So I'm going to just go ahead and say, you know what? I don't believe what you say. Could it be true? Absolutely, it probably could be true. But you know what? I don't care because I'm comfy when I'm sleeping with my fan on. And my son needs it for the white noise, just like me. I don't think my daughter needs it, but she likes to have it on anyway to stay cool. Then I saw a story today that says you shouldn't make your bed either. And why not? Bed bugs. I didn't read the whole article, but it was along the lines of, I guess if you make your bed bugs can embed in the nice clean bed instead of in a tangled mess. They don't really have anywhere. I don't know, but there's a picture of a bed bug and a messy bed, and it says, don't make your bed, which is dumb because I like to make my bed. And yes, I know the fact is your bed is you sleep in it, you get up, you go to work, you come back, you get back in your bed, and you go to sleep again. So why should you make a bed? Because you're going to open it up anyway again. Well, it looks nice in the room, It makes everything look clean and neat and that organized, and it looks good in there. And sometimes, if I want to take a nap during the day, I go to bed. I don't want to get under the covers. I'll just lay on top of my bed and just sleep that way. I don't need to unmake my bed to sleep. So I don't understand that either. What did Patrick say? Every night I sleep with a fan on. I don't care. I need the white noise. Yes. Thank you, my brother. Fight the power, because it's stupid that they say, oh, you can't sleep with fans on. Stupid. Of course, there's going to be people out there to say, oh we probably should do what they say. Keep going, man. My fan's on up there right now. Dawn's sick, but she put that fan on and she's wearing it. She's sleeping with it on right now too. So, the Milky Way had a bigger sibling, but Andromeda ate it. The Andromeda Galaxy, that is, ate it. Now, galaxies have been known because they're constantly moving to eventually collide with each other, and ones that are more powerful will eat the other one, or eat it, meaning not the same way as the dead star eats its planets. It sort of merges with the other galaxy and creates a bigger galaxy. But at one point, the Milky Way had a sibling, but Andromeda ate it. That was a pretty cool headline. Medieval MMA. We're starting to enter the time here on the East Coast where the Renaissance festivals are going to start rolling through to the fall. Our Renaissance festival that we go to starts actually on Noah's birthday, my son's birthday, August 25th. Goes through October, and it's a great location. It's in the woods. It's about an hour away from our house, but it's in the woods, and it feels like a medieval town, and it's an actual. It's a big area, and it's the same buildings and stuff like that. And it is so cool going to the Renaissance Festival, seeing the people dressed up and seeing all the cool stuff and the beer gardens and the music and the activities and the people walking around and the jousting and the caber tosses and all kinds of cool things. And in this setting itself is absolutely amazing. It's wonderful. So I love the Renaissance Festival. So I stumbled upon this also, Medieval MMA. It has basically people in armor fighting each other in an MMA style wrestling type ring. They have swords and shields, stuff like that, but they can also tackle each other and do stuff like that. But it's funny seeing these people dressed in their armor and their swords and their shields doing all kinds of stuff like that. So that's kind of interesting as well. And that led me to what was it that I wanted to talk about? I can't find it right now. Oh yes, here it is. An Amish, and this is not The Onion. This is a true story. An Amish, and this is smart on this guy's part. An Amish man, Amish country's not that far from here either. An Amish man has launched an Uber-style ride service with his horse and buggy. It makes perfect sense, man. You want to make a little extra money as a Amish guy? Absolutely. I mean, a lot of them have their own Amish markets and stuff like that. But why not a horse and buggy Uber? I think it's a really good idea, and it's like the first one of its kind, and it's kind of a neat idea, actually. I like it. So agree. Make your damn bed in the morning. That's right. Patrick and I we're connected. We got this thing going on. It's awesome. Apple is the first $1 trillion company, so it is worth $1 trillion. It has made $1 trillion, or is worth $1 trillion. Is the first ever company to do that. So congrats to them. I know some people don't like Apple, but hey, you know, Apple. Oh yeah. You know what? I can cut this out too because I'm running out of time. I can talk about this at my show with MJ. It's about Avengers: Infinity War. NASA's VASMIR plasma engine, which they've just created or are working on, or whatever, could cut the trip to Mars and make the trip to Mars in less than 6 weeks. Now they can get that engine up and running. Now it's not light speed, but Mars in less than 6 weeks instead of a year and a half. Hey, I'd go for that. 6 weeks as compared to 36 months, if that, 28, 20, 30 months. It's a long time, but in 6 weeks, it's still long, but you know what? It's not as long as a year and a half, which is, I don't know. So good on that. 6 weeks to Mars. I like that idea. Also, in the interesting world of science and NASA and stuff like that, a Canadian radio telescope has picked up mysterious radio signals from outer space called fast radio bursts, or FBRs, or FRBs. They don't know where it's coming from. They're going to do some more investigation to see if maybe it's from a star or whatever, because that's the first thing they always look at. They don't automatically assume, it's aliens, they're trying to contact us. They say, well, it could be pulsars or whatever, which are sending these things. But these are curious enough that's making them go, there may be something more here than we think. So to be continued on that end. WWE star Kane, who was in a horror film a while back, is now the mayor of a town in Tennessee. He's Republican, but you know what? That doesn't make a difference. It's just cool that a WWE wrestler is now mayor of a town in Tennessee. So more power to you, man. Go for it. Wrestlers make pretty good governors, I guess. Also mayors, too. So good on that. Random herd of goats, about 100 strong, have invaded a neighborhood in Boise, Idaho. That's just an interesting story. You know, come out of your house in Boise, Idaho one day, you breathe in the fresh air, and you look down, and there's 100 goats looking at you like, we're going to eat your trash. We eat your grass. We're going to take down your house. So I've always wanted to go to Boise, Idaho, and it'd be worth it just to see 100 goats wandering around the neighborhood there. So that's an interesting story. This one makes me bang my head. So I'm going to do this ahead of time. People are now saying the cause of all the Bermuda Triangle stuff, the airplanes missing, the ships sinking, people disappearing and not reappearing, weird radio messages, whatever, are not due to some magnetic problem or a wormhole or UFOs or Atlantis or whatever, which I've never really put much stake into any of those theories, but the Bermuda Triangle was always a weird spot because of the stuff that was happening. But now this just makes me go, they are now saying that the Bermuda Triangle creates 100-foot rogue waves, which is what causes all this stuff. And got me thinking, 100 feet in the air is not that high. How is a 100-foot wave going to knock down an airplane? Now, airplanes are not going to be flying 100 feet above the water. They're going to be flying higher than that. Not 100 feet. 100 feet is still pretty big, but it's not big enough to knock an airplane out of the sky. Yes, maybe it could have sunk some of the ships, absolutely. And then, why hasn't anyone noticed that before? That they've gone through the Bermuda Triangle millions of times and explored it and investigated it. Why have they never seen these 100-foot rogue waves? It just sounds like you got to take our word for it. This place has 100-foot waves. That's why we're having the problems with Bermuda Triangle. It's nothing supernatural. That makes me go, really? You think we're that dumb? The answer is yes. Yes, they do. Han Solo's Empire Strikes Back jacket could sell for upwards of $1 million at an auction. It's cool. It was worn by Harrison Ford. It's iconic in Empire Strikes Back. It's a pretty cool jacket. If I had $1 million, I might buy it. It'd be pretty cool. Or I'd just put it to my coffee shop again. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And that's all with that. 49 days to fall. Fall is my absolute favorite season. 49 days away. It's not bad. We're actually, it's funny, we're literally in midsummer right now because you got to remember summer starts June 21st and ends September 22nd. So in that span, you've got half, not basically half, but let's just say for the sake of argument, half of the month of June, the whole month of July, whole month of August, half the month of September. What's the halfway point? First week of August. So there you go with that. 49 days to fall. Looking through this catalog called the Lakeside Collection that we get a number of catalogs that has all kinds of like decorative stuff for your houses and stuff like that. There are various and sundry items that have NFL teams logos on it. Blankets, gloves, hats, stuff like that. Now, in this magazine, the Lakeside Collection catalog, they only have about half of the NFL teams listed that get these hats and throw rugs and throw blankets, stuff like that. The Ravens are not in this catalog. Now, the teams you're looking at, the Bears are, so you're lucky there, Pat. But the Ravens are not. And I guess you have to look at the fact that, they pick the teams that most people know about, the 49ers and the Cowboys and the Steelers, the Bears, the Packers, the Colts, stuff like that, teams that the Broncos, teams that are famous for whatever. And the Ravens are not a part of that, even though we've won 2 Super Bowls and we've had Ray Lewis, Jonathan Ogden, really good defenses. We're also from Baltimore, which is a small little podunk city. But here's the thing. If I was a catalog trying to make money and knowing full well that my catalog goes across the country, I would try to have something for every NFL team. The Browns weren't there. The Bengals had 1 or 2 items, but they were not in every one of them. The Raiders were another one that was popular. The Phoenix Cardinals, the Jaguars, the Buccaneers, the Panthers, Carolina Panthers, all these teams were not in this catalog. Knowing full well that these catalogs go to these locations, why don't you just make catalogs for your local stuff? So you could have all your other teams in there, but throw in the Panthers if you're sending stuff to North Carolina, or throw in the Ravens if you're going to Baltimore, Instead, they're going with just the teams that I think my view is that they're also businessmen, and they probably at one time, they probably did have all the teams at one time, and they saw the sales they were generating, and the ones that made the most money for them were these 15 or so they put on in their page. But still, it makes me just go, if you want to make more money, you should spread out a little bit more. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Black Panther is the 3rd movie ever to cross $700 million domestically. Now, it's been out on DVD for months now, but it's still lingering in various theaters here and there. But it has officially reached the 700 million mark, so congratulations on that. It's fantastic. Death Valley was the hottest place on the planet in July. I think they were looking around the 121-degree mark on a consistent basis. A school district, I don't know exactly where it was, will be replacing snow days this year with online classes. So if your school is closed due to snow, you got to go into your computer, go to your school's website, and they'll connect you to your class, and there'll be online classwork, so you can actually not miss any stuff. You can do readings and math and science and do homework and not play in the snow and not have a snow day. I guess that makes sense. I mean, because technically that's the problem, is when you have a snow day, you have only a certain amount of snow days that are covered in the schedule for your school, because you got to have a specific amount of school the day that kids are learning and in school. And if you have all these snow days and you've worked them into your schedule, but if you go past it, then you got to think about how we're going to make up the time now. You got to get rid of some teacher work days, or you extend the end of the school year a few days. So instead of getting off on June 15th, you get off June 19th. This, though, while kind of an interesting idea, because you wouldn't miss any time, you just go online and you do your schoolwork from the computer. Now, that kind of stinks, because I remember growing up as a kid, I loved snow days, because it was a day off of school. I could go play with my friends. I could go out in the snow. I could just hang out, watch TV, or play video games, or play with my toys, or go in the snow with my friends, get hot chocolate, whatever, and not worry about school for a day. Now they're like, yeah, you got to go to school, but you just got to do it from your computer. Now, what about those kids that don't have computers? There are kids out there that probably can't afford computers. So I don't know, but it's an interesting idea, and it might be something that might be popping up in the future. Scientists have discovered or created a strain of rice that neutralizes HIV. That's a good sign for people who suffer from HIV. So on the other flip side of that, science creates a strain of rice that can neutralize HIV. They can also create the Belfie, which is a selfie stick, but for your butt. You can take pictures of your butt with this with the Belfie stick. If you want to take pictures of your butt, I suppose. Florida man brings an alligator in with him on a beer run and doesn't remember doing it. And there's video of him running around the liquor store with an alligator in his hands trying to get beer. And he doesn't remember it. I love Florida. Minor league baseball pitcher gets taken out of the game because he's been moved up to the majors. It's a neat story, you know, when you're pitching out there and you see your manager walk out to you and you think, oh, did I do something wrong? Did I walk like 7 people? Am I not pitching well enough? The bases are loaded. Is he going to take me out of the game? I don't want to get out of the game. I'm having a good time. And the coach comes up to you and says, I got to take you out, son. And you're like, why? Because you're going to majors. This happened to this Cardinals pitcher. His name was Dakota Huseman, something like that. He was sent up to the Cardinals while pitching in a minor league game. They came and said, we need him. So they came out and said, we got to take you out of the game because you got to go to the big game or the big show. That's pretty good for him. There is a convention for cats. It's called CatCon. If you're a cat fan, you can go to a convention for cats. Bring your cat, let them run around, buy stuff for your cat. There's cat stuff going on. So that could be as big as San Diego Comic-Con one day. CatCon. The world's first independent floating nation to launch in Pacific Ocean in 2022. It'll have its own currency. And it was created by the founder of PayPal. It's off the coast of Tahiti. So it's an actual like island they're building with houses and office buildings and schools and roads and stuff like that. That's going to be in international waters. So they do not have anything to do with any of the governments. They can create their own government and they can have their own currency and do their own darn thing. And that's a pretty interesting idea to think about and see how that's going to work out for them. So good luck on that one. I'll do that one last. It's my big story. Thieves smuggle a shark out of an aquarium in a baby stroller. That's just an interesting story. How the hell did you get a shark out of an aquarium? And then how the hell did you get a shark into a baby carriage? And then how the hell are you going to take care of it? I don't know. But selfie. Okay, it's just asinine. Damn. That's pretty good, Patrick. I'll give you that. It's pretty funny. Unseen Monty Python material has showed up. I've been a big fan of Monty Python. I like the show. I like the movies. And I like what the actors have done afterwards as well. But they've discovered a whole bunch of unused Monty Python stuff, including stuff from Holy Grail, which I still think is their funniest movie. Not sure what that means, if they're going to do it or they're going to make a book out of it because it's scripts and stuff like that and make it that way or whatever. They can really do anything they want to now. I guess either they forgot about it and they just happened to stumble upon it. I think probably the best thing to do would probably make it as a book so you can actually see some of these things and get some new Monty Python material, or even get them because they're all still around except for Graham and Terry Jones is not in good shape, but they could still do some of the comedy bits maybe. There was a new shape discovered that's called the scutoid. It was found in our cells, so science is marching on. I went to the grocery store today to pick up some stuff. I discovered that the first pumpkin spice stuff is now out in stores. These were a pumpkin spice biscotti and the pumpkin spice Cheerios, which actually aren't too bad. They're pretty good. But as I said, 49 days to fall. Everything pumpkin spice is coming up, and now the grocery stores are starting to have pumpkin spice stuff in their stores. Pretty soon you'll be seeing it all over the place. Look, I like pumpkin spice as much as the next guy, but I'm not absolutely insane about it. So, whatever. 2 more things, and I'm out of here. So, just hang with me just a little longer, Patrick. We'll be working on that right now. I think this is probably the best story of the day. And then our idiot president goes and ruins it. LeBron James. Now, no matter what you think about LeBron James, personally, I didn't like what he did with the whole decision thing, where he spent an hour, basically playing himself up, saying, "I'm going to choose between these 3 teams or 4 teams in basketball, who I'm going to play basketball with, and they're going to pay me $1 million, and I'm the greatest that ever lived." He was young and stupid, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better for him. And then, just a lot of the other stuff that's going on. He was at Miami for a little bit, and then he came back to Cleveland, and then is now a Laker. So whatever you may think about him, you can keep to yourself. People always comparing him to Michael Jordan, who's better, him or Jordan. And to be honest, I don't care. They're both good basketball players, in my opinion. There's no reason to continue to compare them, but yeah, do your own thing if you want to. But no matter what you think about LeBron James, it's kind of funny how it's not really about redemption, where I started the episode off talking about redemption and ending it on a story like this. But no matter what you think about LeBron James and feel about this, what he did for Cleveland just recently is one of the coolest things I'd ever heard, and goes to show you that, you pay somebody a lot of money, it's not always going to be about them. They want to give back to the community as well. So LeBron James opened a school in Cleveland for at-risk children. It's a high school for at-risk children who they want an education, but the school systems for them are crap, and they're getting close to wanting to drop out and work, or they're from poverty, or they're toying with the idea of maybe selling drugs because that's where the money comes from, because they want to help their family. But LeBron is trying to say, no, come to my school. He's opening a school for these at-risk children. We provide them with free tuition, food, counseling that includes with the family as well, education. And this is the cool part. If you survive the 4 years and get good grades and good enough grades that you're college eligible and you want to go to college, LeBron will pay for your tuition to the University of Akron. He will pay for your college education out of his own pocket, because he has enough money, and because he's LeBron James, and because he's one of the good guys. I think that is such a great idea. I wish more celebrities, sports people who have all this money and want to make the world a better place. I think this is a really good idea, and it's something that could really help and redefine the educational system until we get it fixed ourselves, which with what we have in our Secretary of Education is never going to happen until we get proper Secretary of Education people in there. I think it's a awesome idea, and it is all coming from LeBron. He is not getting money from anybody else. You are not paying any of this. He is paying for it all from his own money, because he's got a shit ton of it, and too much of it enough of it that he can still live comfortably, but also can help people. So no matter what you think about him, that alone makes him one of the good guys. And if you want to call him the GOAT, go ahead, the greatest of all time, because that is what we need more of now. Then our idiot president goes and rags on him about it, because he said that he would never want to sit across from him at a dinner or a meeting or whatever, and would rather sit across from President Obama, which today is happy birthday. President Obama is 57 years old. And so, like a little petulant little child, he goes on Twitter and whines about being made fun of, and so calls him stupid and dumb. Luckily, Twitter and the basketball community got his back. A lot of basketball players are like, I don't want to get into politics, but this is just wrong. And Michael Jordan, who he and LeBron are always being compared, he's like, dude, lay the frick off of LeBron. And he defends LeBron with all this stuff, as you should, because what LeBron is doing, he's doing something to help make our country a better place, to educate people to educate the next generation. Are they a different color than us? Yeah. Oh my God. God forbid they're different color than us. Sometimes I really hate being white. I like it because I get the privilege and stuff like that. But I can't stand seeing how other races and creeds and sexes get treated, and it pisses me off. And that's why I'm a proud libtard, if you want to call me that, and a Democrat, because I do not like the direction this is going in. But LeBron James is doing something for at-risk children and their families when it comes to counseling to help them out. He's not saying, I'm going to pay you to come to school. Yes, he is paying him to go to school. But at the same time, though, he's like saying, you got to have a specific, you got to keep your grades up. You can't cause trouble like that. And these are kids who want to learn and want a better life for themselves. And LeBron has come from that same thing, and now he's making his way and passing it on to the next generation. And I think that's fantastic, and more power to him. And cheers to you, LeBron. You deserve every kudos. I think you are the GOAT. We're going to end with Check I Day, and then I'm out of here, Patrick. All right. The specific holidays for this week. I'm just going to do this week's stuff. Check I Day is a website, and also a Twitter handle, which gives you every day is a holiday. It literally is. And they're all not the best holidays in the world, but every day is literally a holiday. So I'll give you what today's are. Today is August 4th. Today is Hooray for Kids Day. Is Mead Day, honey wine, which is yummy. Speaking of Renaissance Fair. National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, which we don't have any in the house, though. National Disc Golf Day. We have a disc golf course up at Druid Hill, which is really cool. National Jamaican Patty Day. National Mustard Day. National White Wine Day. Single Working Women's Day. Taxpayer Appreciation Day. Hey, I appreciate you, Patrick. You're a taxpayer. U.S. Coast Guard Day. August 3rd, which is Friday, was Airplane Crop Duster Day. Brahm Pie Day. Esther Day. Grab Some Nuts Day. International Beer Day was yesterday. National Watermelon Day. August 2nd was Dinosaurs Day, National Coloring Book Day, National Ice Cream Sandwich Day, National IPA Day, beer and stuff. Homemade Pie Day. Oh, that was the 1st. So tomorrow, the 5th, actually should say in about 4 minutes, the 5th is going to occur. August 5th is Work Like a Dog Day, Sisters Day, National Underwear Day. Get some more of that vagina beer, man. National Oyster Day, National Kids Day, National Doll Day, International Traffic Light Day, International Forgiveness Day, Green Peppers Day, Friendship Day, and American Family Day. So that's what that is. So on that note, I am done just before midnight. Patrick, as always, thank you for watching. I'm glad you stuck through the whole 2.5 hour frame here. That was my double episode. Hopefully next week I'll be back from my vacation. I'll be talking to you about that. Anything else that happens during the week, I'll be up to it. Whew, I'm tired. I know you guys are tired too. Thanks for watching, Patrick, especially you. Thanks for watching as well. I'm on vacation now, officially. I'm going to sleep till noon tomorrow. Get right. I'll be up at 8 o'clock as always. So there, guys. I'm on vacation. Peace.